Brilliant, unbeaten run in Europe goes on. That man there back on the score sheet, of course, as we win 3-1 there over in Switzerland. What a game, and here to get into all the action is Keith, is David and is Paul. David, 0-0 at half-time. I'm coming to you because it's finished on a correct prediction, my friend. You and Naden Manua. 3-1.
Well, I actually thought it before Naden said it.
Okay.
Definitely. It was originally.
You told Naden to say it.
I was sending the signals. He was coming through the raindrops. Everything. No, I mean, look, the City I think had 25 shots in that game. 13, just over half on target. It was one-way traffic. I mean, the goal was completely against any kind of run of play for young boys, and the record keeps going. And I'd imagine in the next game, it might continue. It
might continue, but that's it. And if it does, I think a win all. I think Alistair Mann said possibly a point should secure qualification. 3 points, hopefully, definitely will. You alluded to it at half-time, though, Keith. There wasn't much to change. It just felt like it was going to come, and that's what happened, really.
Yeah, I think the surprise was probably the goal that young boy scored. I think we were in the studio here, we were looking at the replay, and the next thing, the one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Yeah. So we didn't really see all the build-up. But again, there's an old saying in football that you're at your most vulnerable just after you've scored. But again, created enough chances to win 2 Champions League games today.
Paul, let's start working through, because now there's actually a lot to dig into in that second half. Beginning with, of course, our goal of the second half. It was Akanji that got it, of course, in his home countries. That must always feel great. But talk us through that goal.
Yeah, he'll be delighted. Obviously, came to the set piece. Second ball came out. Wonderful ball from Rodri. His left foot putting it in, and Ruben Diaz has a header. Keeper actually makes a good save for once. Onto the bar, and Akanji's in there to score, and great for him. He'll know a lot of the players there from the national team, and yeah, 1-0, 3 minutes into the second half. That's what we all wanted.
We've seen that quite a few times actually this season. What do you think that is? Scoring so early on in the second half, because as I say, it's kind of becoming a bit of a
it's just been switched on, isn't it? More than anything else, and possibly them going in 0-0 at half time. They think they've done a decent job and switched off the first few minutes of the second half, but I mean, you look at this here.
27 shots.
27 shots, yeah. And look at the distance covered. They were knackered at the end. Yeah. Nearly 5 kilometres more than what we have. 688 passes, 95% possession. So it was one-way traffic, and as Keith said before, they just switched off for a second. It's a great finish by Ellie going through. Maybe young Rico's got to go the runner than try to play offside. Yeah. And then got a bit sloppy for 5 minutes after that, but then the last 25 minutes, and I thought when Alvarez came on, he was brilliant.
Yeah, Alvarez.
He picked the ball up in that little number 10 hole 4 or 5 times in the 11-12 minutes he was on. Great finish for his goal. I'm still not having that's a handball, but we'll leave it there.
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a second, and Alvarez, because he was dynamite. I just wanted to ask you, Keith, for the goal, as you said, we weren't privy to the full build-up, but it did seem, a very disappointing goal to concede, especially given the high standards that City's defence have set. It was very easy, the one ball through the middle. What could they or should they have done better, do you think?
Well, again, it's difficult because we haven't seen the full build-up for the goal, but the obvious point, from a defensive point of view, if there's no pressure on the ball and you've got people running, you go with them. Yes. And you drop off, because that keeps you in the game. Otherwise, if you're gambling on the linesman's decision, I back myself rather than the linesman. So you stay goal side, you keep the man who's making the run, you keep him that side of you, because then the worst way you're going to delay play and somebody else can come in and cover. Yeah. What you can't afford to do is get stood and have people running at you, and you're hoping and waiting for a flag. Not the way I used to defend.
No, definitely not. That happened. It was a little bit of a shock, as you say. No one really saw it coming, David. It was 1-1, and then the big man Erling Haaland comes on to get that goal. Although, I mean, he had a chance just before that, but then the penalty came along, didn't it? And it was a clear penalty.
Yeah. I mean, he had the block shot. It was clear. Definitely a penalty, although, like Alistair in commentary, we were trying to work out where the foul was, first of all, but then you clearly see Rodri gets his foot stamped on. And being the sort of the goalkeeper in the room, it was interesting with Haaland's penalty. That was probably more savable than the header save before Akanji's goal. Just funny way goalkeeper works. But when Haaland's got the ball at the spot, it's very rare he misses.
Yeah, I think you could see by his dad's reaction as well. He knew that maybe on another day a keeper might have saved it. But it was a penalty scored.
Exactly.
Put us 2-1 and put us in the driving seat. Then I wanted to ask though, and this isn't me by the way, I'm just purely know how some fans and the conversations that will happen. Haaland, of course, with the goal, but we know that there was maybe 3 or 4 chances, definitely maybe 2 more that could have ended up in the back of the net. Paul, the point is, I'm guessing that at least he's in the right position for the chance.
Yes, and
he shouldn't get caught up on that. He could have had 4 goals.
I know, we're in October and that's only 11 goals he's got this season already. You know what I mean? So, he knows himself, but what he does do, he keeps putting himself in the position. Ironically, the goal that he did score was probably his hardest chance of the night.
Yeah.
But look, he might get a little bit frustrated, but he won't get down about it because he knows in this team he's going to keep getting chances, and if he keeps getting chances, he's going to score a ton of goals, as we've seen already.
That finish, by the way, though, as well, that he took, I mean, it's absolutely dynamite.
On his weaker foot, as soon as he got the ball to his foot, you knew he was going to dress the defender up and open himself up, open the goal up, and great contact. Confidence. He's full of confidence. Even if he has a few chances that don't go in, doesn't lose his confidence because he knows another chance is coming.
Yeah, and that's that mentality that we always keep hearing about. Right, let's pause from us here in the studio. We can now go over to Switzerland, where of course we've had Natalie and Naden. They brought us some brilliant stuff in our pre-show, and we can now get their thoughts at full time over in Switzerland. Over to you, Nat.
So full time and City have won, and with a very smug Naden Manua, who may or may not have predicted the scoreline of 3-1.
You tell me. Did I? Oh, it turns out I did. Yeah, that was nice. That was nice.
And we're just taking a minute to enjoy the home fans, because despite the fact that they've been beaten today, they've all stayed in the stadium. You cynically think it's because they want to see the City players.
I beg your pardon. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. There were lots of people that did want to see some of the City players. You said yourself there were lots of signs saying, can I have your shirt, this guy, can I have your shirt, that guy. But in fairness, the Ultras stayed and the players stayed on the pitch. So you know that something's going to happen. And I think the reception that they had, they know their team gave everything. It's nice to see, to be honest.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and the players went up to their sort of ultra side of the ground and stood there, and they all had a clap together. It was good. I enjoyed it, but not as much as I enjoyed the game, because City make it 3 out of 3. What did you think of the game?
I think overall it was quite comfortable. Obviously they got caught on that break as such, but I think when you look at the amount of chances that they created, the opportunities they had, defensively they were good overall. You know, players playing well. There were like 1 or 2 little mistakes as such, but I think as you leave a place like this, you've got the 3 points, you've got the goals, and you've got good health. And I think that's going to be the big thing. You want to try and keep this squad as available for as long as you can, and if you do, I think you'll be in with a chance.
In terms of standout performances from the team, I thought Rico was excellent again. Despite the fact that he's so young, there's moments where he's so commanding and you can see him shouting to the other players.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think Rico's getting set now. He understands that he can't be a quiet player on that pitch. If you're going to be playing out there for them, you have to stand your ground. And I think he's definitely getting good at doing that. And there were some other good performances as well. In my opinion, not least of all from Rodri. He's so good at football. Nat, he's so good at football.
Rodri?
He's so good at football. The way he can control the tempo as and when he needs to. The fact that, you know, he was the one who got fouled for the Haaland penalty, wasn't it? So at times he can be higher. I think he can sort of connect the game from deeper. Like, stop me if I'm wrong on that, I apologise.
I can't remember.
But he can link up the game, he can change the tempo, he leads people on, doesn't just pass to their feet, he'll play them into space and so on. You know, he's one of the best players I've ever seen wear a Man City shirt, and today was another example of that.
Very, very much so. Very much enjoyed Jeremy Doku as well before he went off. Although we talk about this all the time, they threw me in the first half when him and Jack just suddenly swapped sides.
Yeah, so some people might be confused by that, but it's just give people a different look. And I think at times maybe Jeremy and to a certain extent Jack on their right hand side, they're probably not as comfortable as they would have liked. So you give them a spell on the other side to get more comfortable, get more in the game, have the ability to go down the line, but then still have your strength to come inside. And I think it made a difference because they were both very, very good. They create some chances themselves. They're probably going to both think that they should have scored today, and that's always a good sign when it's multiple people on the pitch that could have scored, because on a different day, maybe they do it.
And Jack Grealish gets booed in Switzerland. Who knew it? I knew he got booed at Premier League grounds, but in Switzerland.
Do you know what? In fairness, if I remember rightly, the booing came from an incident where I think they said he fouled someone or whatever.
There's always something.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily purely because he was Jack Grealish. But yeah, they did boo him, and I suppose that's his sort of like, that's what energises him, because in the end I think he had a very good game.
And I don't know if you could hear it on the TV, but there was a moment in the first half where City had a really, really great chance and their keeper made a really great save. And then everything came over the tunnel, you know, like you do when you get a goal, and they all started cheering the keeper's name. Like, that was different.
Yeah, that was very, very different. But then in the same breath, I like it. I just wish that, you know, in some of the games I played in, if I made a 5-yard pass, and here he is at the back, and then everyone started chanting, that would be nice. But it was a good moment, and it's a nice little confidence boost. And if that's the culture at the club, then I can see why people would enjoy playing here.
You know, every time we get our microphones and camera out, it starts to rain. We were all right a minute ago, but the rain's now coming down. I'm thinking ahead now to the derby, which I don't really like doing. Do you think anybody has played themselves into that 11 tonight?
I'm not sure, but I don't think anyone's played themselves out of it. I think the manager will have all options on the table. As long as people recover, then there are enough players out there. Well, I say this. Obviously, Akanji can't play. That's the one because he's suspended. But I think everyone else that's going to be available, they're ready to go. They've shown something today, or shown something in recent weeks, which suggests that they can handle going to play at Old Trafford and playing a big game, such as the Manchester derby. So I think, as I say, all cards are on the table.
Talking about Akanji, considering he got the red card, he knows he's not playing at the weekend, he's back in his home country. Solid performance from him. What do you think it'll have meant to him to have scored in his home country?
Yeah, it would mean a lot, but then it also just means lots of people don't really score very often anyway. You know, whether he's scored in Manchester, Madrid, you know, you're in Bern, it makes no difference. As I say, when you're not scoring 20 a season, you just enjoy the moment. But yeah, to be back in Switzerland, I think he got a good reception overall. I think he met with some players who were maybe former teammates as well. And that's a big positive for him. And, you know, as obviously he doesn't get the chance to play in one of the biggest games of the season in Manchester derby. But, you know, scored in the Champions League, and how many people can say that?
You won't be in Manchester for the Manchester derby, will you?
No, I think I'm just going to head over to Oslo just to see a few people, watch the game with them, and yeah, hopefully just enjoy a very blue day indeed.
The life of Neda Manua, flying from Switzerland to Norway for the Manchester derby to share it out there with fans.
I thought that's what people did, but apparently not, yeah.
Well, you have a wonderful time.
Do you know, I think I will.
And I'll see you Monday night, back in Manchester.
For the Ballon d'Or show.
Oh, yeah, that little Ballon d'Or.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Cannot wait.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having us out here. We've had a wonderful time despite the rain. City coming home with another 3 points. The youth team getting a huge 4-0 victory as well this afternoon. Been a pretty good day for us.
Yeah, of course. And I said 3-1. Happy days, eh?
And he said 3-1. See you soon.
Thanks, Nat. Thanks, Nathan. Brilliant stuff from over there. It is a good day to be a Manchester City fan. And, of course, as they said there, Nat is going to be bringing you the Matchday live show that will be bringing you before the derby. Harry on Sunday will be live from 2:30. And that Ballon d'Or show is on Monday, the 30th. Quickly pick up on Jack Grealish, Paul. You know, we said how buzzing we were to see him starting. Obviously, unlucky to have an injury at the start of the season, but he looks like he's finding that form again that we saw at the end of last season.
Yeah, probably his best performance of the season so far. Yeah, I thought he looked threatened, carries the ball, winds the opposition up, players and fans, as we all know. But look, he's a top player. I say it all the time, from the World Cup January time to the end of the season, consistently he was our best player.
Yeah.
In that team, and he was probably one of the first names in the team sheet as well. Talking about players playing their way into the game on Sunday, you know, and Jack would have loved the team winning on Saturday, but he would have looked at Doku and thought, I need to start raising my game a little bit here.
Yeah.
You know, they both want to play in that left-hand side, and I think tonight it was fantastic. He was back to the Jack of old as such after his injury.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The other player I wanted to quickly highlight only came on for 30 minutes, but I think I said to my dad, Keith, a few weeks ago that for me, Julian Alvarez, particularly this season, is almost the first name on the team sheet, especially how he links the play and his finishing. I mean, his finishing, but what a player we have there, same age as Haaland as well.
Unbelievable, phenomenal. And again, that natural position of playing off of Haaland, he looks a threat when he gets the ball, but he's got a good understanding of where other players are around him as well. But he's a goal threat. Don't ever forget this. So, he's not an advanced midfield player. He is a goal scorer.
Yes.
Playing off of the front line, which I think gives him more freedom to go and find areas that he's going to get his shot off.
Yeah, absolutely. The other final one, Rico Lewis. I mean, again, slotting into that centre midfield role is probably not much that we haven't already said, but just looks so assured there, doesn't he, Dave? Another great performance alongside Rodri, who was superb as well.
Yeah, well, Rodri was just Rodri, wasn't he?
Of course.
Best in the world.
Yeah.
I think with Rico, the first half was a little bit sticky at times for him, but he came through that in the second half and was solid. I mean, it was... Pep will be sitting in that change room thinking, right, I thought I knew roughly what my starting 11 was, but I think there was enough performances out there to make him have a serious think about it. And, you know, what Rico did in the second half, what Alvarez did, I mean, it's a shame his goal was disallowed.
Yeah.
Because that would have put him top goal scorer in Champions League.
Was it? Do you think it was the right decision?
I don't know. I just think the way...
It was a handball on Jack, wasn't it?
They're saying unnatural position. Jack's hands are by his side, and the ball's just bounced up and hit it. I know Andy was saying in commentary that the ball's stuck and everything else. I'm not having it. I'm just not having it. I'm sorry.
I'm having it because I predicted 3-1.
Yeah, you'll take it. Let's do it then. I would like that. I've been putting it off a little bit. Let's look ahead to Sunday. You know what it is. It is Derby Day in Manchester. The boys in blue head into Old Trafford. FG is going to be there as well, bringing the stuff from the ground when we bring you Match Day live. Keith, how are you just feeling in general about the derby on Sunday?
Well, strangely enough, I watched United's game last night. When I woke up, I watched the highlights that were slightly more exciting than the actual game was. No, it's a derby game. Played in a few myself. League form, cup competitions can go out the window because it is the derby game. But City have got a way of playing. Yeah. And that won't change. They will play the way that Pep sets the team up to play. The team selection, we will be competitive.
Yeah. Speaking of the team selection, David, we know there was a few players there that haven't started tonight that we're assuming might start Sunday. So thinking a few changes and what do you think the approach will be come that game at Old Trafford?
That's a good shout. I'll be at the game myself.
Okay.
Yes, I'll be working at the game.
Might see you pitch side maybe, David?
No, you'll see me up in a radio position.
Okay.
Which will be great fun. I'm not looking forward to parking before the game. That's going to be the big issue. The player, I think Foden has to start. I think Alvarez has to start. I think there's an opportunity here to, even though United are in some kind of decent form with the results they've had, they've basically scraped those results, and I still don't think it's mended. I think there's an opportunity here to really hand it to them, and we talk about Alvarez's quality and with the finish, even though, as you said, the handball shouldn't have counted, the finish was just ridiculous, and he's been in ridiculous form this season. So I think he'll be the second one after Rodri, maybe the third one after Edison, maybe the fourth one after Stones. I don't know.
Yeah, but we'll be seeing him on there.
I think we'll see him on there.
And Haaland obviously getting a taste of goal as well, Paul, but I guess, whoever the 11 players are, we know now in the build-up to it, the focus and the concentration, the energy, it just shifts, doesn't it? And are you nervous? Are you excited? How are you feeling? How can you see it?
No, I'm buzzing for it. I am. I watched the game last night. I've watched the last couple of games, and look, they've got a lot of injuries they have. But I've never seen a Man United, I think disjointed is the word of the night, isn't it? I've never seen a Man United team over the last few weeks looking disjointed. I know Martinez is out, Shaw's out, Wan-Bissaka's out, 3 of the back 4. Casemiro could be out. Amrabat's come in. It doesn't look as if he's quite settled yet. And that the midfield 3 they've got at the minute, they leave so many gaps in there. And we know how good we are in the middle of the park. We spoke about Rodri, Bernardo Silva, his energy if he goes in there. Alvarez playing in that 10 role. There's lots of gaps all over the pitch with United at the minute. And if they come out and set up the way they've set up the last few games, I think they could be in trouble. I've just got a feeling that they're going to sit in. But whether they can do that at Old Trafford with the fans behind them or not, but I think if they sit in, they might have a chance. But if they play the way they've been playing, I can see us winning comfortably.
Well, that's all I needed to hear then. That makes me feel very good. Hopefully it does you too at home. And I feel that's a lovely note for us to wrap up the show. As always, a massive thank you to you all for watching. I've loved tonight. And Manchester City carry on this brilliant record in Europe. And now we turn our attention back to the Premier League. Sunday afternoon, 3:30. It's the Manchester Derby. Match Day Live will be with you an hour before kick-off at 2:30. Don't forget as well, of course, we'll be bringing you that Ballon d'Or show as well, happening on the 30th with some boys in blue, hoping to get their hands on the trophy. I know all the money's on one man in this studio. Massive thank you to our guests Keith Cole, David James and Paul Dickoff. Thank you to Nat, thank you to Nathan, thanks to the team. Wishing you all a lovely evening and I'll see you soon. Enjoy the rest of the week. Come on City.
Silva volleys it forward brilliantly and puts it on a plate for Sheko again. It is 6 of the best for Manchester City.
The derby. Yeah, it's going to be a special day, isn't it?
Because you have a 2-point lead going there, you can afford to play for a draw. People talk about to approach the big games away. Are you going to go for it?
I think that if we leave Old Trafford with a draw, I think that is good for us, but it is not our mentality. The same for United. I think that United and City play always to win every game.
The two highest scoring teams against the two meanest defences. Both are unbeaten. Both have scored in every game. As if all that wasn't enough, they're also playing for local pride. Can United silence the noisy neighbours and take their place at the top of the table?
Just pipping United by 2 points is going to make it even more special.
Well, it used to be just a derby about Manchester, two teams from Manchester, but I think now it's much more. I'd say it's almost global. It's a game that doesn't only mean a lot for people in Manchester, but also for people around the world that support City or Manchester United, and that's how you have to look at this game. But as a footballer, I think every footballer knows that there's nothing better than to play in derbies. If you win it, then you're on top of the world for whatever time that may be.
Is our referee. If this goes like previous Manchester derbies, it could well be a busy minute.
We're at the top of the table now, so this derby is probably more important than most, in the fact that whoever wins that will probably see it as first blood. So it's a derby we're very much looking forward to.
And it's the first corner of the game. Beautiful feat there from Silva to deceive two defenders, and he's still got possession. Amazing run there by Silva.
If you want to beat United, you should play very well.
Silva, lovely ball for Milner. And it's come to Akanji! Why always me?
Would you like his t-shirt?
I didn't this what.
Why always me? Question.
Did you know, Gareth, that he had "Why Always Me" on as a t-shirt underneath his shirt? Was that a secret?
No, I personally didn't know, but a lot of the players I think knew about it in the build-up in the week. But no, I didn't have a clue what was going on.
We know United's a tough place to go. To win that, to get something there at United would be massive.
Hard time at Old Trafford. Possession might be 9/10 of the law, but not in football it isn't. United have enjoyed a great deal of the ball, but the one crucial strike on goal was delivered by Manchester City's Mario Balotelli.
We played well. I think that the first 25th minute United played better, but in that time they didn't have more chance to score. After that we scored. I think that we started to play better. In the second half, the game was changed.
How will the champions respond? Milner finds Balotelli onto Aguero. Balotelli gets through again.
He's fouled him. He's fouled him. There's a decision to make there from Mark Clattenburg.
Oh, it's red. Onto Milner. Silva. Good ball back to Silva. Anderson's got to be careful with him. Brilliantly done from Milner. Balotelli far post. Manchester City lead the champions by 2 goals to 0. Here's Balotelli on a hat-trick now, of course. Milner. Richards. It's 3. Aguero arrives to finish another flowing City move. United in the process.
You've done this before. You played in 2008, didn't you? So this is like standard to win the Old Trafford.
No, the only standard thing is the horrible little goal that I keep conceding. That keeps annoying me.
Hernandez back to Fletcher. What a brilliant goal that was!
Mancini just said, "Don't go back." He said, "Just we wanted to get as much," because he kept saying goal difference is going to be important at the end of the season. Do you know what I mean? And
this is the game. This is the reason why we won the league. This.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
The goal difference. If we didn't have this, this is 3-1, we don't win the league.
And it comes to Lescott and Dzeko. United are claiming offside, but the flag has stayed down. And Manchester United's miserable day is complete.
Yeah, time to pack up and go home, I think. For them, though, they're going to make the most of this.
United was the best in the season.
But that final goal is one of my favourite David Silva assists on the volley when he plays it through to Dzeko. Is outrageous.
Phenomenal pass.
Silva volleys it forward brilliantly and puts it on a plate for Dzeko again. It is six of the best for Manchester City. United not just beaten, humiliated.
Well, we've just seen one of the passes of the season so far, probably this season as a whole, from little David Silva.
Really, the belief started to grow in this game at Old Trafford, where you produced probably the best pass I've ever seen. I mean, that assist there, that pass, is that the best you've produced?
Bueno, yo creo que uno de ellos, porque he tenido la suerte de asistir mucho, pero mira, gracias ahí a Erling que marcó el gol, ¿no? Porque si no lo marca nadie se hubiera a lo mejor acordado del pase. Así que al final tú también dependes mucho de los delanteros, porque son los que tienen que finalizarlo. Pero Erling era un jugador, bueno, es un jugador magnífico que me encantaba jugar con él.
The noisy neighbours have taken over the whole street for the time being anyway. Top dogs in the Barclays Premier League, most certainly top dogs in the city of Manchester.
So what does it mean to come here and win 6-1?
It's good, but I think that it's not important 6-1. It's important that we beat a fantastic team.
How do you feel personally?
I feel disappointed, yeah. It's the worst defeat in my history, ever. Even as a player, I don't think I've ever lost a game 6-1 in my life.
You know, people call us the noisy neighbours, you know, and here we are. We've got a good set of lads now, and we want to show people what we can do, you know. And I think we did that today.